So you folks remember this thing? So for any of you who are new to the channel, this is a project that I was working on here and there while we were building this barn when I wasn't able to work on the barn. Now there's a lot of other stuff we did in between also, but this is one of those 3-year projects that's actually really simple. It's just taken a long time. But I had said in the last time, I think the last time I worked on this, I had said once I get my shop set up to where I could weld and everything inside at my own space, we'd get back to work on this, and that's exactly what we're doing. Now the plan here, we're going to heat the forge area with this because this is where I'm going to be most of this winter, most likely. We're going to spend some time in the wood shop also, but for the most part, we're going to be in here kind of waiting out the winter. I have high hopes that this thing's going to work well, and I have high hopes that it's going to heat this space well. I almost think it's probably going to be overkill, but we'll see what develops. Now, I'll flash to how we got to this point. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you on the other side of it. That's an awful noise. Alright, let's see where we're at. I know I'm going to have to cut this down some. I had planned on that because I want part of this to be tight to the lid and the other part to have a slot cut out of it so we can direct the flow of exhaust, so it has to pull down one side and go around the whole thing before it exits out. Let's see. See how far we have to come down. Say 3 inches. All right, so where are we at with this sawdust burner? Now, we just stepped you back through kind of where we started with this. It's been so long, I figured... So anyway, I'm actually going to be putting an inducer motor on this. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, why am I using motors constantly on everything that I install? For me, it gives me a lot of freedom for venting this thing. With an inducer motor on this, I can go straight out the side of the wall, and I don't have to worry about running a stack all the way up through the roof. The wind and everything like that will not affect it as much unless it's blowing directly into the pipe. A lot of times you can elbow it down. Now, what we may do over time, I'm going to try to make this burn as efficiently as possible. That's another reason for the inducer motor. With the inducer motor, I can actually move my exhaust around quite a bit, get a lot of bends, make a long run on it, and then we can get as much of the heat off of this thing as we possibly can. That's kind of how your high efficiency furnaces work. The heat exchangers are fairly restricted down, but if they're set up right, they don't really plug up. If they're leveled off nicely, if you have your condensate draining right, this won't be nearly anything like that. These sawdust burners, this design burns just like a rocket stove, but instead of having your charge of fuel back in a small combustion chamber and then your gas is burning off inside the stack, we're actually going to be putting our fuel. Our fuel is going to act like our stack, if that makes any sense. So what'll happen with that, the exhaust is going to come out the top of the barrel. The heat's going to hit the top of the heater itself. The inducer motor is going to suck it down into the bottom. As it's sucking it down, it's going to be removing heat out the sides of the heater. That's going to give us a lot more efficiency as far as getting as much heat as we possibly can out of a charge of sawdust. Now we're going to put some safeties on this also. We're going to put a high limit switch on this thing to where if the stack gets too warm, it'll cut that inducer motor off and should snuff the fire out. It's a low tech. What we're doing is pretty low tech, but it should work fairly well. We may have to toy with a few things after we have it done and all that. There's still some things I'm straightening around in my head as far as this thing goes. But so what we're going to use, this is a nice inducer motor that I picked off of a unit a long time ago. I've had this thing kicking around the shop for a long time. Thing looks like it's brand new. Looks like it was hardly ever used. But it's 120 volt or 115 volt, same difference, 3,200 RPMs. It's a 0.17 horsepower. And I have to pick up a capacitor, 7.5 microfarad, 370 volt. That's not a big deal. They're like $5 to pick one of those up at a local supply house. What we're going to be doing with it is we're going to cut a hole in this plate that this squirrel cage will fit through, and we may even take the squirrel cage off and cut a hole big enough for a shaft in the boss that's on the inside of this. It's about 3 inches, and that'll just give another layer of strength to this mounting plate and should help it seal up a little better. And what that's going to do, it's going to mount to this guy, which this is the this is part of the burner assembly that we use to make our forge exhaust fan. We're going to mount it to the side like so, and we're going to come off up here with a piece of duct that we're going to weld right to this piece of stack 4-inch. That's actually 4-inch exhaust pipe, and we're gonna weld it on there. Mount this to the side of the sawdust burner, and this will be our inducer setup. Now, it'll make more sense as we go. I'm just running out of time. It's actually Thanksgiving right now. I'm out here tonight working on this. You know, the dinner's over. I'm stuffed like a tick. All that good stuff. But, so yeah, that's where we're at with it. So we're going to be working on this thing right here until it's done, because I don't know if you guys noticed in the last few videos, you can see our breath out here, even when the forge is running. Now, if you're right next to the forge, it's nice and warm. No problem at all. You actually sweat a little bit. But like I said, we're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff in this area of the barn that's actually has we're going to be grinding a lot. So we're going to want a source of heat for when that forge isn't running, because when we forge out, I plan on doing the tools in batches of 10 to start out. So when I get 10 things forged out, like the draw knives, those forge out pretty fast. I get 10 of those done, and then it's going to be days and days of grinding, mounting handles and things like that. So definitely going to want a warm space to do it. But so anyway, that's where we're at. That's where we're headed. So probably this coming week, I'm on call right now, so the videos for the weekend may be kind of slow, but moving throughout the week, we're going to try to get more videos up in December than we have in November. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get back to daily uploads. There's just so much going on, but I'd like to get close again, because I kind of do enjoy that, but we just don't want to burn ourselves out terribly. So for those of you who are going to bitch that we're not doing stuff on the barn itself, time and money, guys. This is what I'm doing. So I read all the comments. I've been lax on responding because it's just been, like I said, it's been real busy. But we'll get back to that. But I see them all. I see every single one of them. And I've said it many times for the regulars. I work on what I can do when I can do it. Money is tight. I have 3 kids, a family, and a mortgage, and a lot of bills. So we are working our way through those. When I can go and get more materials for this thing, I will go and get more materials for this thing. It probably won't happen until I can get some stuff sold off. So anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this one coming up. I can't wait to have this thing running. This has been one of those forever projects, it feels like. We still have to burn the paint off of this thing and all that good stuff, and get it so it doesn't, choke us out and kill us when we're out here working on it. But of course, it's pretty well ventilated in here. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.